Got that going. There it's going. And let me go ahead and start the video for today. Now, the reason I'm videoing is for two reasons. Anybody that read their actual handouts, that most of you printed out, some of you have no idea what I'm talking about. Sorry, but you should. I'm teaching two other Math 120s online, so I will be using this video for not only your class, so if you're out of class you can go to YouTube and pull it up, but I'm also using it for the two Math 120 classes, Math 120 Section 2 and Math 120 Section 6. So that's one reason, that's another reason. There's two reasons I'm videoing class. So, and I'm only videoing this board, so nobody can sue me saying that I'm videoing y'all. I'm not videoing y'all unless you sit there and I video the back of your head. That's pretty much it. Okay? I'm also doing screen capture. Screen capture is up here. The only difference between screen capture and the video is the video, you'll see me at the board, where the screen capture, all you'll see is writing. Different learning styles, different preferences. Don't tell me that you don't want to see me, because that'll make me insecure. Then I'll have to put smokestacks on my truck and the oversized tires and all that stuff. So I don't want to do that. That's too expensive. So that was supposed to be a joke, but y'all are not going to interact with me. So we're just going to be quiet all semester, right? That's what y'all want to be? Quiet all semester? Like the bodies class, we can do that. We'll do that. We'll just sit and talk about math the whole time. All right. Thank you. For your handouts, let's go ahead and pull that up, and we'll go over the handouts first. The handouts is what most of you printed out, which 2 or 3 of y'all are saying, what is he talking about? Well, I'm sorry. If you don't read your email, I'm sorry. If you didn't get the email, I'm sorry. I sent it out, I think yesterday morning, sometime, I think. And I attached the handouts with it. So if you didn't get them, you need to check your email more than once every 2 or 3 weeks. And there's the email that I sent out. And the first one is the syllabus. Let's pull up the syllabus so y'all can look at the syllabus. Well, let's open it. There we go. The most important page of this class is the last couple of pages of the syllabus, and you need to go through and read the syllabus. This part right here is pretty. What kind of scale system do we have at Tri-County? 10-point scale. It's always worked. Don't understand why they ever changed it, unless they just, wanted to try to teach more without having to teach more. I don't know. But anyway, 10-point scale has always worked. So if it ain't broke, we don't fix it. We try not to. But this is the actual sections that you need to print out. This last page right here. They should put it on one page, because it'd be a whole lot easier to print out for y'all. Put it on one page, but they didn't, of course. But anyway, if you can, print this one page or glue it and paste it or whatever, however you can do it, and put it on the inside or the outside of your notebook. If you got one of the notebooks with plastic on the outside, then take this and slide it in that plastic, because that, if you're absent, if you go on vacation, whatever, and you need to see what section to go over, and you don't want to go to the videos because that's too easy, then you can look at this, and it can tell you. If I go over 3.3 today, then tomorrow I will probably cover it, and tomorrow is what for y'all? When do y'all meet tomorrow? What is tomorrow for y'all? Thursday. I don't need somebody telling me that you don't come tomorrow. I know that. Tomorrow means the next time we meet. All right? So the next time we meet would be, if I went over 3.3 today, the next time we meet, I'd probably go over 3.4, but we'll discuss that in a little bit in more detail. Let me go ahead and tell you right now, and this is for the online class also, These two sections right here, two chapters, are 90% reading. 90% reading material. So y'all go ahead and start on that. Okay? I'm not going to cover but the highlights. And I'll cover it in class probably tomorrow, which means Thursday. So from now until Thursday, you need to go ahead and start reading on chapter 1 and chapter 2. That's one homework assignment. Okay? Chapter 3 is 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4. That's going to be probably 75 to 80% of your Unit 1 test. That's where the math is. Okay, so if you really want to put Unit 1 in perspective, 80% Chapter 3, 20% Chapter 1 and 2. So you can pretty much pass the test without even doing Chapter 1 and 2. But why give those points away? In other words, they're gimme points on the test, might as well take them. All right. So print this out, copy, cut, physically cut and paste it if you have to, and put it in your notebook. This is the most important page right here. I don't know why they didn't put it on one page, but you can copy and paste it. I don't know if you download it off of the website, the academic website, tctc.edu, you can actually copy and paste it and put it onto a page, a word processing page by itself, and you can actually do it that way and print it out if you want to do it that way. But the main thing is print it out. Chances are, if we get to chapter 8, I'll be extremely surprised, but most of the time I get to chapter 8 without a problem. I very rarely get to, well, let me rephrase that. Chapter 7 I get to. Chapter 8, and that's John Deere Place right now calling me, telling me they're fixing to bring the tractor. And I can't talk to them because I'm talking to y'all. Thanks a lot, class. All right, so that's your first thing, that page. So make sure you print that page out and put it in your notebook. And this is the first unit. And we'll go ahead and talk about that right now. So let me pull up my handy dandy whiteboard because I have to talk about this with y'all because Tri-County Tech believes that y'all are stupid. Okay? If you're in an online class or you're in a conventional class, and if your class lasts for 10 weeks, then how many weeks is that per unit? Well, you take 10 and divide by how many units? 4, right? We had 4 units while ago on the syllabus. So that's 2.5 weeks, right? Okay, so everybody get your calendars out. Go ahead and get your calendars out because I need to write these dates up here because y'all don't know how to do this. Take 10 weeks and then divide it by 4 units. And that comes out to 2.5 units per week. Now, I'm going to put tentative, especially for my online students, because some of y'all are hammies. Who's Hammy the squirrel? Come on, y'all can talk. Who's Hammy the squirrel? Nobody in here knows who Hammy the squirrel is. Y'all never seen Over the Hedge. The squirrel that it goes crazy over anything, okay? Well, some students do that. I know you. What class did I have you in? This class? Okay. Hammy the squirrel is a squirrel that jumps all over the place and goes crazy. That's some of y'all. What day? When did the test due? When's the homework due? When's the test due? When's the homework due? And y'all think the more times you ask it, the more times I'm going to give it to you. No. Right, Mr. Bright? I just look at you and say, I have no idea. Okay? And I'm going to explain all that. First of all, tentative means not set in what? Stone. Not set in stone. Thank you. This is just a guide. Okay? This is a guide. So somebody count. Let's see, 2.5 weeks would be 5, 2. Let's go with 12. Okay? Okay with y'all? That'll give us some room at the end. So count 2.5 weeks, which would be 2 weeks and 2 days from today. And what date is that? Look in your calendars. Tell me what date that is. While you are doing that, I need to text that guy down in Carnesville. Tell him to bring it. Sorry. And we'll talk about texting here in just a minute. Yeah, he just sent me pictures of it. He's supposed to get it cleaned. I hope he got it halfway decently cleaned. Yeah, he did. All right. So, somebody give me that date. 10 days from now. What is it? Or 12 days from now. What is it? Y'all do know how to use a calendar, right? Y'all do know how to talk. Mr. Bright, are you going to help me out here or what? Ms. Coward, you going to help me out?
May 24th.
Okay, so May 24th is our tentative date for what? Unit 1. Chances are we're going to go before that because a lot of that's reading for y'all. Okay? So somebody count 2.5 more weeks. What's 12 more days from May 24th? What's that? Thank you, Miss Coward. You're the only one in here that can use a calendar. June 5th, Unit 2, and talk. All right, 12 days from that. What's 12 days from June 5th? June 17th. Unit 3. And then what's 10 days from that? Or 12 days from that? Thing go 29? June 29th. When's the class over? Okay, that gives us some time. I guess we should have went with 3 days or 13 days or whatever. But anyway, this gives us a little bit of time because that gives us another 5 or 6 days for, review or whatever. I don't know. I doubt we'll stay with this because you're going to give yourself about a week, probably longer. So probably somewhere between May the 24th and May the 31st, and then somewhere between June the 5th and June the 10th, June the 17th, June the 23rd, and June the 29th through July the 4th or 5th, something like that. Okay? So that's especially for the online students. This is tentative. This is what you need to think about as far as staying up with this class. That's what you should. So between May the 24th and May the 31st, June 1st, you need to be finishing up with the chapter 1, 2, and 3 material. And that's what we're going to shoot for in here. Okay? So I know that this is a new concept for y'all, but none of y'all know how to do this, but we've been instructed at Tri-County to show y'all how to do this because y'all are not adults and y'all are not college students, but we have to show you how to do that. I'm being cynical, okay? I'm being sarcastic. All right? So that's how you structure your semester. You take your units and divide it by the weeks that you go into class, and then you schedule it out on your calendar. Any questions on that? All right, so that takes care of the syllabus. So let's look back and see what other y'all settle down. See what other, I don't know how to get out of this. Where's the minus? I ain't got time for this. I'll just go to the email and throw up the next one. The second most important handout is the one that says, here are things you will be graded on. Now this is important because at the end of the semester, I will pull this back up and I will ask you to bring this to class. This is you should have it every day in class. I've just went over again what we just went over right there. All right. This is for the Math 120. I think y'all are section 12, and my two onlines, Math 120.02 and 120.06. You have 2.5 weeks per unit. I use mylabsplus for everything: homework, test, and gradebook. Why do I say that 4 or 5 times? Because at the end of the semester, somebody is going to send me an email. And that email is going to say, Hubert, the grade on mylabsplus, is that my grade for the semester? Nope. It is the predicted temperature on July 4th at 7 o'clock. Why would it be called gradebook? Why would you have grades all the way across? Now, I could understand if I had different assignments and I picked up stuff and I graded stuff and I gave it back to you. I could understand that. But what does those first 5, 6 words say right there? I use mylabsplus for what? Everything. Or everything. Whatever you want to call it. All right? Everything. I do not take up stuff. I do not grade stuff. I do not turn it back to you. I do not hold it and keep it and you never see the grade. Everything is instant feedback for you so you know what your grade is throughout the whole semester. Please don't send me an email at the end of the week because I will not answer it because I've already covered it, and I'll cover this again at the end of the second let's see, about the 8th or 9th week. I'll cover this again. Won't I, Mr. Bright and Ms. Cowart? And somebody will still send me an email that says, well, what's that grade for? I have no idea. Homework on mylabsplus. Homework is started when I start the material. So that means, well, what about the reading? Well, the reading's already open. All your homework is open right now because I haven't put a date that you can go through and do the whole class tomorrow if you want to. I ain't got any test posted. Okay, but I'll post the test whenever. I will say this. In the summer, I do things just a little bit different. All right, for the online class, hello, online 120. For the online class, I'll probably leave the dates open all semester. I'm not going to do that for this class because that's just for the conventional class that don't work. For online class, it does because they are already in that mindset of doing their own pace. But conventional class, it don't work. So, but I will give you, and Miss Bright, Mr. Bright, Miss Cowart, raise your hand so everybody see. Everybody turn around and look at them. They are my former students, and your last name I can't remember. Jones, Miss Jones. You sat in the back last time, didn't you? I thought you did. Oh well. Miss Jones will tell you that sometimes at the end of the semester, I give you a whole week to make up anything you want to. So I'm very lenient as far as I'm anti-hammy, okay? I do not want you spazzing. So do I fix it to where you spaz? No, I do not. If you read my handouts, you should have picked up on that. Deadlines will be posted for the homework when we get toward the what? I'll blow it up so y'all can read it if you didn't print it out. When will the homework be posted? The deadline for the homework be posted. When we get toward the what? End of the unit. Well, how will I know? I'm not the teacher. You got a dang syllabus. Read it. If we're on 3.2 and there's 3.4s at the end of the section, at the end of the chapter, then we're getting close to the end of the chapter, the end of the unit. So that's when you need to start worrying. All right. Now, Hubert, why don't you just put if you do 3.2, why don't you just give us 2 or 3 days to do 3.2? Oh no, I tried that. That worked out like a lead balloon in a punch bowl. All right, I ain't doing that no more because 5 dead grandmothers, 5 flat tires, 16-day funerals. What else do y'all have? You know, the house catches on fire, and your neighbor's house catches on fire, and your grandmother's house catches on fire, and the dog gets sick, and the cat died, and no, I won't do that no more. I did that like 2 semesters, and I said, I will never, ever do that again. Because y'all live in a world of catastrophes. And some of them, I believe, are made up. Especially the 5 dead grandmothers, when most people only have, 2. 2 grandmothers. Most people have 2. Some people have 3 or 4. I understand 3 or 4. But the same grandmother dying like every semester just gets old after a while. Okay, so do not worry about, who's the only people that worries about dates anyway? People that wait till the what? Last minute. Oh, I'm concerned. Concerned people will read my handouts and say, okay, the procrastinator will keep asking me, when's test due, when's test due, when's test due, and I'll keep ignoring them. I will not answer that question because you will see when the test is due by reading this material. All right. So, for example, and I have to put this is made up when I say for example because some of y'all will go home and start on chapter 8. For example, if we are on Unit 1 that covers 8.1 through 8.8, when we get to 8.7, then everybody needs to go into homework is due mode and what's coming up? Test. Everybody needs to get in that mode. That week, when we get to 8.7, during that week, everybody should be thinking, I got to finish homework and I got to get ready for the test because it's coming. Some people would call that common what? Sense. Yeah, some people would call it that. That's what that is. You can print out and do the homework just like conventional homework. You can do it, no problem. All you got to do is hit print assignment. It'll print the homework out. You print out each one of them if you want to. Go home, do it paper and pencil, and then when you get through, what? Type in the answers. So that takes care of the redneck disorder, I don't want no computer to do my homework. Well, don't. Print it out, do it the traditional way, and type in the answers. Do it that way. If you don't see a start date or an end date, then what? Thank you, ma'am. Who's the only one in here that needs to worry about what y'all need to go through and when y'all need to go through? Me. We can go eat pizza every day. We can go eat pizza every day and drink beer, and I'll give y'all an A. Who's going to get... Be quiet, Miss Cowart. Who's going to get in trouble for that? You or me? Me. All right? What if we don't cover but one section? Who's going to get in trouble? Me or you? What if we cover 15 chapters of calculus? Who's going to get in trouble? Me or you? No, you're not. Me. Because I'm not doing what I'm what? Supposed to. All right? You don't need to worry about that. The only thing you need to worry about is doing whatever I cover, and then at the end of the section, get ready for homework to be turned in and tests to be turned in. And you know what's going to happen? Those dates are going to fall into place, and you're going to go, oh, I see how this works. Again, a little bit of common sense. Online test. How do I give online tests, Hubert? Well, I will give you 2 chances to take tests. Sometimes I give you 3, don't I, Miss Cowell? Mr. Bright, I give you 3 times sometimes. This is important. That's why it's underlined. What will mylabsplus do? Take the highest. So please don't send me an email at the end of the semester to say, what do you do with the grades? Do you average them together? Or I have no idea. If you do get a reply from me, that means your question is valuable. It's valid. If you get a reply that says, I have no earthly idea, then that means I've covered it, and I just felt like replying, even though it was satirical or what is it, sarcastic. Sorry. I'm really not that sarcastic. Am I that bright? Am I very sarcastic? Just when it comes to things that I've already said, I don't like repeating myself. Okay? I just don't like it. It's just like too much work. All right. I will give you 7 to 10 days to take the test. Why did I give y'all 7 to 10 days? 5 dead grandmothers, dog sick, cat's dead, house caught on fire, flood took it away, I got 5 flat tires, and anything else y'all come up with. Have y'all noticed that I'm taking away some of y'all's what? Taking away a lot of your excuses. Here's your, all this right here. You can read it. Let me see if I can get it all on one. Well, I can't. I could if I'm not going to fool with. Well, let me go to view. There we go. Okay, that right there tells you how we do the weights in my class. Now, you need to take out the 5th test because you don't have one. So just take that out. So if you have your handout with you, just take that out. All right. These 4 units right here is 60% of your grade. Write that down. And it says it right here. Okay? It's supposed to say it's above 4 grades. That should be 4. Okay, 4 grades. These 4 grades right here is 60% of your grade. Cumulative homework is what? And final exam is 20%. Remember, 60, 20, 20. There is a test question on each of your tests. What is Hubert's grade weight distribution? And the answers, the possible answers are 60, 20, 20, 30, 30, 30, water, and duck. Would you think that people get it wrong? Which one do they pick? 30, 30, 30. Why is 30, 30, 30 wrong? It's not equal to 100. Okay? I'm just telling you what I have to deal with sometimes, okay? I'm just telling you. Alright, so everybody's got this page. So, I do not, and the 3 students in here that's had me before, or have you heard anything about me? I do not cheap shots. I don't do them. What do you mean cheap shots? When it comes to, I must have erased it. I did. When it comes to test questions, or when it comes to dates, I do not take cheap shots. I do not sit at home and say, let's see, it's Friday night, nobody is doing homework, so I'll assign the test tonight and end it tomorrow night at midnight. I don't do that, okay? I don't do it as far as dates go, and I don't do it as far as test questions go. In fact, my last Math 120 class, didn't I give y'all 7 questions on the final? Weren't you in my, no, you were in, I know, you were in my 103, weren't you? Okay. Well, in my last Math 120 class, there were 7 questions on the final that regenerated, and I didn't go over in class. So one of my students wrote me an email and said, there's a few questions on the test that you need to look at because I don't think we went over. And I did. So what I did is I wrote an email to everybody saying that the test regenerated a problem that I did not cover, and I'm giving everybody 7 questions on the test, on the final exam. And at the end of I said, do the best you can on the exam, and at the end of the exam, you will get 7 points, 7 questions, which I think came out to be like 20 points. And it worked out. See, I didn't I didn't do something unfair. Okay? I don't do that with questions either. Usually, when I do it with dates, I will tell you, okay, we're on 8.6. There's 7 sections. 8.7 is the last section. What does that mean? And the class is supposed to say, homework is going to end, test is going to start, or something like that. And I will announce, I say, okay. And what do I also do? Mr. Bright, what do I do on the day that I assign the test? What do I do in class? And then I also go over the what? I go over the test on the board. It's not the exact test because it pulls from pooled questions and it also regenerates. So, and it messes up the order. So Mr. Bright could be sitting here, Miss Cowart be sitting right here in the testing center or the lab downstairs. And number 1, Miss Cowart's number 1, maybe like number 15 on his, but they're totally different problems. So, it's not the same exact test. All right, but it gives you an idea. It says, okay, there's 25 questions, or there's 20 questions, or there's 10 questions. So that way you know that you're going to get 10 questions, or 10, or 25, or whatever I show you. And the type questions, you see that I'm not going to pull any punches because that's a good indication of what you're going to get, but just not the same. So there's no way to fail it. Okay? So I don't do stuff like that. And I usually give you the dates, and then after I set, I even pull up the dates and give them to you on the board. That you will see me change them and say, okay, we're going to end it on the 15th at midnight. Everything I do ends at midnight, 1 minute before midnight. And the reason I do 11:59 p.m. is because if I put 12 a.m., some people will think it's lunch. Hey, remember, I'm having to work with these people, okay? So I put 11:59 p.m. so students will know that it's at dark and it's after the news. And they know that if I put 11:59 p.m. All my tests, all my homework end at midnight, 1 minute before midnight. Okay? And I usually put it on, and I have it in this video. So therefore, if you're not here the day that I post the test, you can look what? At the video, or you can look online after I posted it, and it'll tell you the ending date. So, it's pretty simple. Okay, that's the second most important. So the 2 things that you should have in your notebook is 1, you should have that last page of that syllabus, and 2, things we meet on, things we will be graded on. Because the last week of class, I'm going to ask you to pull this thing back out. Because we're going to go over it again, so I won't get any questions that I've already went over. Okay? Let's look over some of the other. Okay, we went over the syllabus and the handout. Let's go over the mylabsplus student login. Really? I still can't get out of this thing. Hold on while I log back in. We have to log in. We have a 15.5 second login time, and if we go past 15.5 microseconds, it'll log us out. Sorry about that. But I'm only one of about 5 teachers that use technology anyway, so it doesn't matter. They're not used to it. Okay, what was I doing? Okay, email. Let's find that. Let's go with the mylabsplus again, because that way people that have never have it. Mylabsplus is another way of saying Course Compass and another way of saying My Math Lab. They're all the same thing. Okay, so if you hear me say Course Compass, I mean the same thing. This tells you how to log on to mylabsplus. Tells you what to use. Tells you have to get an access code. Now, if you have had this class before, let's say that you wasn't into it that semester, or the teacher sucked, or you had some outside things that happened and you couldn't take the final, or whatever the case may be, then you need to log on to your old username and password, and it should prompt you, or should say something like you are retaking this class or something like that. I don't know what it's going to say, but it's going to give you the option of clicking on a class. Probably you need to click on this class, because if you have taken this class before and you're retaking it, you do not have to pay for another access code. Only if you've taken this class before. And that's the way it is with all classes with mylabsplus. If you've taken it before and you didn't finish it for whatever the case may be, you should be able to log on with your old username and password, which is the same thing as this. It's your jsmith13 and then your T number with a capital T. And it should prompt you and say you're in a new course. Make sure the course, and we'll go over the grade book, and I'll make sure all of y'all's names are on there before we get started with anything. So you need to do that tonight. And when there's a 21-day or a 14-day grace period, so that takes away the excuse of what? Oh, well, I couldn't pay for it, so I didn't log on. Well, that takes care of that right there. You don't need it. It's free for 21 days. I don't know about now. I don't know. This is summer. 21 days for a 14-week. So chances are for a 10-week it's probably going to be, well, 14 is to 21, 1/3. No, 2/3. So 0.67 times 10, probably 6 days, maybe 7 days. Probably a 7-day grace period. So don't wait till 7.5 days. Go ahead and get logged on, okay? So you can get started, so you won't have the excuse. And it'll save it. If you ain't able to pay for the access code the 7th day, it's not going to erase everything. It's going to keep everything, and just when you get the money to get the access code, it'll take off from where you left off. So, okay, so that's that handout. There is a 1-800 number. I think it's 1-800-677-6337, but be careful, because there's also, I dialed the wrong number one time and got some dating service. So be careful. I think this is the right number right here. We should call it and see. Let's see right quick. I know that if you change the 8s or the 6s, it changes it. So I'm gonna check it right quick. I don't want to give y'all the wrong. Let's see. Oh my gosh, he's using his phone. 677. Y'all supposed to have a heart attack. Let's see what happens.
Thank you for calling Pearson Educational Center.
It's working. Okay, that's the right number. I think it's the 877-8337. That's the one, dango.com, date.com, or whatever, date on the phone or whatever. I accidentally did 1-800-877-8337 one day. That didn't turn out very well. This is the help desk for Tri-County Tech. If you have an issue with your T number, if you have an issue with logging on to mylabsplus, Blackboard. Have I said anything about Blackboard? What does that mean? I don't use it. Okay? If a teacher does not mention something, chances are that teacher doesn't use it. So I care less about Blackboard. Only thing I care about, online 120s, the only thing I care about is mylabsplus, because everything I do is in mylabsplus. I don't care about Blackboard. All I care about is mylabsplus. If you have an issue with Tri-County Tech, mylabsplus, your username at Tri-County Tech, your password at Tri-County Tech, these are the people to call. Don't get attitude with them, because they'll give you an attitude right back. Be nice, they'll be nice. This is mylabsplus. Let's say you get to mylabsplus and you log in and you can't remember your password, and you need to call these people. Okay? They can't help you with mylabsplus. They can help you with Blackboard, with your username and password here at Tri-County Tech, and any computer issues you have at Tri-County Tech. mylabsplus, That's who you call when you got an issue with them. Okay, Capiche? Yes, Hubert. Thank you, class. Now, y'all gonna have to talk. Y'all don't want me to go body on you and teach like that to go body. You don't want that. Or some of the other teachers, not just them. Okay, today we're going to start on page 527. And then about an hour later, you're on 623. And your voice hadn't changed at all. I don't see how people, I don't see how, I drop them. Can't handle it. All right. Now, why, Hubert, why do you write an information sheet about you? I do it for two reasons. One reason is because we used to play a game in class. I used to send out an index card to everybody, and you used to fill it out with 6 or 7 categories. I put the categories on the board, and y'all would fill them out, and then you would turn them in to me, and I would mix them up, and I would hand them back out, and you would read out what you got, and then we would guess who it was. I love doing that. I love doing it until people I would have to explain what the favorite color was. And I would have to explain, I put, where are you employed? And then they would say, where I'm employed now or where I was employed last week. I just gave up, okay? So I quit doing that. But I didn't quit doing this because the reason I did it then is because I thought it was hypocritical for a teacher to just give you their name and phone number, which they didn't want you to memorize either one, and then they asked all this stuff about it, and that's why I did this. But another reason I do this is to give you all my contacts. So therefore that takes away what? Another excuse of what? I didn't know how to get in contact with you. You know, whatever. I even give you snail mail. You don't have to use it. But here's my cell number. Best way to get in contact with me is my cell. And which form? Text. I would much rather get a text than a phone call because sometimes I cannot answer the phone call because of meetings. I'm on a tractor or I'm working with the cows or the pigs or the chickens or whatever. Or I'm surveying in the woods or name it. On a bulldozer, whatever. Or I'm in a meeting here, or I'm helping somebody with office hours or something. So texting is real good, just like email is real good, because I can always send you a text or send you an email without having to shut off everything else that's going on. Okay? Please don't send me a text saying that you're not going to be here tomorrow because your cat died and you got to go home and you got to give your cat some kind of burial or something. I don't need to know all that, okay? Just main things, okay? Like vacation, you can just tell me after class if you're going on vacation. You don't have to tell me 15 weeks ahead of time. You can just tell me like the day before you leave. It's no big deal. You got your syllabus. You know what I covered today. You know what I'll be covering the next week. You also got what? The videos. The videos will tell you where we are. So you don't have that excuse either. There's my cell email. The reason I call it cell email, I know I can go to Gmail and pull it up on the computer, but the reason I call it that is because it does come directly to so does all my other emails, even though you can't get, let's see, what did Hillary Clinton say? I opened a new account because I wanted all my emails to come to one. I don't know what she said, but she said something that wasn't correct because I got 5 emails coming to this thing. I don't know what she said. She said something that just didn't make any sense. But anyway, some of y'all don't have any idea what I'm talking about. Home email, I rarely check that one, but sometimes my phone goes off when it does. There's my office email. It'll come up and say, you have an office email. Okay? Because I know that it's coming from work. So I can see if I'm fired or not. And office, there's my office number. And it even gives you what? Directions to how to get to my office. How many excuses have I taken care of there? About 4 or 5. I didn't know how to get to your office, bull. I didn't know what your office number was, bull. I didn't know your phone number, bull. It's all there. And why did I go through all this? One, let you know that I used to ride dirt bikes where this campus used to be. If anybody in here, Miss Coward, I'm picking on you. You remember when this was nothing but pine trees? And we used to ride dirt bikes. There's a bunch of hills out here. We used to ride dirt bikes out here. And when I wasn't playing football or track or wrestling, I was riding dirt bikes out here. And I live 3 minutes away, out here in the McLeese community. It's been a McLeese community for the last 100 years, but now that McLeese School is there, it's McLeese. I guess McLeese sounds too country, and now it's McLeese. The man that started McLeese School back in the late 1800s, late, I can't remember, 1900s. Yeah, the early 1900s. His name was Henry McLeese, and that's the way he pronounced his name. He called himself McLeese, but I guess that's not good enough. McLeese people. Grew up on a dairy farm. Now we got beef cattle on it. Run hay off of it. Anything I pretty much grow on it, I'll try to, except for illegal substances. I don't grow illegal substances. But went to Tri-County Tech, went to West Side, right down the street. Went to Tri-County Tech. Took me 4 years to get a 2-year degree. Took me 9 years to get a 4-year degree. Now, none of y'all would know what that's about, but it took me a while. So there's a little bit about me. I still do that mainly because of this. And mainly because it lets you know that I didn't grow up in Connecticut and graduate high school at 16 and went to college, and by the time I was 18 got out of college. No, that wasn't me. That was somebody else. Because I sucked at math, believe it or not. And that's that. And let's go ahead and look at anything else. Class courtesies. Very important. In 20 plus years, I'd say 21, close to 21 years. Let's say 21 times 3 is what? 63? So 63 semesters. And 63 times 4 is 252. So I've taught 252 classes plus in the last 20 years. You know how many? Well, 252 times the average of 20, because sometimes I have classes like this, sometimes I have classes with 30. So 252 times 10 is 2520. 2520, so 5,000 students, roughly. You know how many students I've had to ask to leave my class? Anybody want to take a guess? Shut up. You took this class before. You had my class before, not this class. 3. Anybody want to take a guess on how many of them are female? Nope. 1. Other 2 were male. And the first 2 has been at the Pendleton campus. It's been over 5 years ago. The last one was fall semester. And it was a girl. That's the one that bashed me on. She didn't bash me one time. She bashed me like 4 times because it was the same person that wrote it. But anyway, that's what I was told. She did jihad. I got tired of repeating myself. I would go over a problem, and it would be like 5 minutes after I went over that problem, she would say, "How'd you get that number?" Like, what number? That number on the previous problem. See, I was messing up with her Facebook. She was on Facebook while she was supposed to be listening in class. And that's why, and to this day, I don't like computers in classroom. I don't mind iPads. I don't mind if you're actually doing on your cell phone. I don't mind that as long as your cell phone is down where I can see. Pads, notebooks, and tablets, they're okay because they're laid flat. I don't like something that I can't see. If I see a notebook and it's like this, I'm going to come around there and see what you're doing, because it's just rude. And that's what this, I've never, 3 out of 5,000, somebody do the math. What's 3 out of 5,000? I have no idea. But 3 out of 5,000 is a very good. The first two, the first guy, he was just a social misfit. He was just one of those people that laugh 15 minutes after you tell a joke. You ever met one of those people? And when they laugh like 15 seconds after something funny has happened. They're social awkward. They're awkward. You know what I'm talking about? Well, anyway, I just threw him out of class because he was just messing up class, making the class very uncomfortable. The second guy was a caveman, not just a regular caveman. He was an ultra caveman. He came with his girlfriend and took classes with his girlfriend, whether he needed them or not, so he could watch her. Yeah. And he finally got on my nerves by saying, you don't need to do it that way, you do it the way I showed you. And when he told his girlfriend that, I turned around and I said, you can leave. And he left, but before he left, he said, come on. I told his girlfriend, I wanted to say, why don't you snap your fingers a little bit like a dog? He said, come on, let's go. And she said, no. And boy, he got red in the face, and I said, please leave or I'll call security. And he left. And to this day, she thanks me for that day, because after that she broke up with him. And I talked to her on Facebook and everything. She's an intern with a senator in Washington now, in South Carolina. So she's doing good. But I don't know where she'd be if she's still with him, because he was an ultra caveman. But the other guy, the girl, she just didn't like me, I guess. I don't know what it was. But anyway, I treat students the way I want to be treated. Mr. Bright, would you say that's true? Miss Coward? I don't pull any punches. I don't want any punches pulled on me. I do not like disrespect. Okay? I'm an old country boy, so I do respect people. And I went to the Marine Corps and came out of the Marine Corps. I like respect. Okay? So when you are texting in class and I'm teaching, that is disrespectful. Period. First time I'll say something. Didn't I say something about texting in class? That means I've seen you texting between your legs. Okay? People, you don't think somebody's going to know what you're doing like this? Yeah, I'm an idiot. Now, what about texting? You see me texting. You see me use a phone. Do I go into ballistics, Mr. Bright, when your phone goes off in class? No. It don't even register. I just keep on going. But I do ask that it is important. Now, there's 3 numbers that will come up here that I will have to leave and answer. One is my mama, even though I give her my schedule. She don't read it. She just calls. Okay? Then there's my daughter. My daughter is 17, and she is at Westside, and she's either calling because she's in trouble or she wants Zaxby's for lunch. And then my 8-year-old will either call because he's in trouble or he's done something he ain't supposed to, which means he's in trouble. He grabbed the what do you call the resource officer, grabbed his weapon last year. So I had to go on that. He didn't grab it and pull it out. He just grabbed it and wiggled it just because somebody dared him to do it. So that was a major thing. We had a major conference on that. So if MacLeese calls, I'll have to answer it. And if Westside calls and it's not a request for Zaxby's, I have to answer it. And if my mother calls, but how do I do that? Well, if it's a text, I will say, excuse me, and I'll go out there and I'll text. Usually I can get by with texting them while you're working on a problem. That's not disrespectful. If I'm up here talking on the phone, or if I'm up here talking to a student and I'm not teaching, you can do whatever you want to. Just don't be loud and obnoxious. Because I am not teaching. I am not talking. Think of it like this. Let's say that Mr. Bright came up to me after class and was asking me how to do number 14 on the test. And he said, and why he said, Hubert, I did this, and while he's talking, I pick up my phone and start texting. What is that? Say again. It is. Now, what's the difference in me doing that to him and you texting while I'm teaching? What's the difference? There is none. So don't do it. Now that hallway is just like that highway out there. You can't park in this parking lot without a TCTC sticker. But you can park in the middle of that road out there all day long without a TCTC sticker. When you come into my class, you follow my rules. You go in the hallway, you can text, you can talk, you can have a fight. We had a student have a knockdown drag out with her boyfriend over furniture. And everybody in the whole hall was listening. I mean, the doors closed and they were going at it. And she was giving him what for? All over furniture. But she was letting everybody know. I mean, you can do that if you want to. But all I ask is that you be courteous. And I try to be the same way. Texting and cell phone usage. Now, some of your teachers are not going to be that understanding. Some of your teachers are just fanatics. But I think it's hypocritical for me to have a phone up here and it go off and y'all have one. I mean, I just don't think I should say anything. I know the other teachers, they don't have a cell phone. Yeah, right. Attendance. All right, now make sure you get this down. Okay? Everybody got that? But our federal government, right now, the only thing on their priority list right now is to crack down on the 3 or 5 students a year that take their check and don't come to class. You know, we don't have any problems with our borders with Canada or Mexico. We don't have any problems there. We don't have any foreign policy problems. We don't have any domestic problems like people rioting. But we are going to crack down on these financial aid criminals. So financial aid made us start taking attendance. As soon as you cross that threshold, you're here. You turn around and go downstairs and work on a test, that's fine. If you go to another class and meet with another instructor, that's fine. As long as you cross the threshold, you're good. Now, you had some issues with attendance because you're a high school student. Any other high school students? Okay. If you have issues, it's not a big deal. If you're going on vacation, it's not a big deal. Just make sure that you stay, as long as you stay in cohesion with the class, your grades, boom, 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 A, B, BA, C, they stay above a C average and we shouldn't have a problem. But don't come ask me for any favors if you've got like a 52 average and you hadn't been to class at all. I don't drop anybody because that's extra what? Paperwork. I don't do it. Now, if you are absent and you don't come to class, you're going to get a bureaucratic email from the bureaucrats that say, in order to be successful in your class, you need to be in class. I'm not going to sit here and tell you need to be in class. You know if you know the material or not. If you know the material and you need to go do something, come in here, write me a note, put it on the thing. No, do not put it up here. You got to see me. I got to see you cross that threshold. Because that way you are physically here. And then I can count you here, and then you can go on about your business. Okay? I don't want anybody here that don't want to be here. Because it makes class uncomfortable. Okay? And if you do have a 15-week vacation, then we need to talk because you're going to you need to sign up for my online class. All right? These are just some typical things I hate and some things I like. So, what I like about a class, did y'all see that? Interaction. That means talk. Okay? That means if I ask y'all a question, y'all say yes, no, maybe. Okay. Thank you, Hubert. You're welcome, class. Calculators. This is a 120 class. We do not need calculators until Chapter 3, and you can get by with a TI 30, I think. It suggests TI 83. Now, if you have a Droid, you can go to Wabbit, go to Play Store, and go to Wabbit EMU. Wabbit, W-A-B-B-I-T, Wabbit, like Rascally Wabbit, Wabbit EMU, one word. And you can download a app that looks like the TI-83 for your calculator. The iPhones, they don't have it. They did have it until Wabbit EMU dropped it. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But there is some kind of graphing calculator on the, but you have to do the search. And if somebody will get that for me, I will make sure I write it down. But on the Apple, or whatever you call it, the iPhone, you have to go and do a search for a calculator. I think it's called Calculator App or something. But make sure it's like a TI-83 or above. But if you got a Droid, you can download it for free. TI-80, yes sir. That's all right. You're gonna fail.
Probably going to be this TI Inspire.
That's
It
fine.
works. The only issue is I think there's a software issue with sign, cosign.
That's fine. You don't need that in here. All you're gonna need in here is your probability functions, which is under math. So, and it says probability. So go under math and probability, and that's what you're going to use. I will show you 3 ways in here. I will show you by hand, I will show you by calculator, and I will show you by spreadsheet. Okay? Because some people can't afford to go out and buy a calculator, so they can use a spreadsheet. Now, do not use the spreadsheet because y'all have to use the spreadsheet. I'll get like that chick wrote on my thing. Makes you use the spreadsheet, which is confusing. Mr. Bright, have I ever made anybody use a spreadsheet in your class? I've never made anybody use any. Just lies. Just lies. Anyway, I do the spreadsheet on the board because it's organized and it's not me writing all over the place. That's why I use the spreadsheet. And I make and all the characters are the same height, they're the same width, and I can get a whole lot more done on this one whiteboard than me drawing all over these whiteboards. So that's why I use the Excel spreadsheet. And I will tell you how to use the formulas on the Excel spreadsheet if you don't have a TI-83, so therefore you don't have to go out and spend money on a TI-83. If you still want a TI-83 and you can't do the application, try it on the iPhone, and if you don't like that, then try to borrow one from somebody or share. Okay? Okay. Y'all have to remind me what time, 2:30, right? Class 2:30? Huh? Well, we'll stop at 2:30 because I have to pick up my son. I get my son every other week. So that'll tell you when we go. Next week, y'all gonna get out of class early. Now, I'll probably let y'all out at 2:15 because it's just at McClay's. Have to go to McClay's to pick him up. All right, yes, sir.
One more thing.
You only get one question per class.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm taking Miss Rainey's AP Chemistry class.
Tell her that my class is more important. You tell her that. See what she says. Go ahead.
I have a reactivity series demonstration for AP Chemistry.
Uh-huh.
I believe it's
That's no big deal. Just remind me whenever. No big deal. No, I'm going to condemn you. First of all, you're taking Miss Rainey. Second of all, my class is more important. She told you to say, she told you to, that, did you tell her whose class you were taking?
She said she's a
Yeah, she has. Yeah, she said you're a loser, so I should fail you. All right, next. I think that's it except for one thing, and that is Hubert's ideologies. That's where I have all my disorders. When I graduated West Side, you know how you're like ranking. I was like 356 out of 370. Okay, you ever wonder about that? If you're ranked the last person in the high school, and that person is the last, and that high school is the last ranked in the state, and you're the last ranked state in the United States, you're the dumbest person in the United States. You ever thought about that? That'd be pretty sad, wouldn't it? Let's say during the year that I was 370, let's say his name was John Smith, and South Carolina was ranked last in education, and West Side was ranked last in the South Carolina then John Smith would be the dumbest person in the United States. Makes you think, don't it? But it also makes you think, why don't glue stick to the sides of the bottles then? Anyway, I did not do well. I'll tell you my story. The reason I didn't do well is because my 7th grade algebra teacher, Miss Brenda Bradbury, she was the worst teacher you could have. Worst. And after my, no, 8th grade. My 8th grade year, after that, my math went, phew. And the reason I'm telling you this is, again, to give you a little bit of insight on how I teach. I was terrible in math. I had to start with fractions. When I started at Tri-County, I had to start in what's called pre-algebra. That's where I started. Actually, I started in basic math. It was called Math Essentials. They didn't want to call it basic math because it made everybody feel like dummies. So they called it Mathematics Essentials. That's where I started. And I got a 4-year degree. Now, I'm not doing that to compliment myself. I'm telling you that because I'm hard-headed. All it takes to be able to do math is a hard head. That's all it takes. Now, what if you make A's? Well, if you make A's, that means you got a hard head and you're smart. But I'm just telling you, I ain't smart. I'm just hard-headed. And I got a math degree, and I started with fractions. So I don't want to feel like hearing all that crap about math is not my subject. I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. I think all of us suffer from one of my disorders. I had to change the attitude because I offended somebody with the other word, which means donkey. How do you offend somebody with donkey? But anyway, lazy attitude disorder, whining attitude disorder. I did not have whining, and I did not have deadhead disorder because I think deadheads ought to be shot. But anyway, deadhead disorder, stubborn disorder, I suffered from that. Suffered from redneck disorder, and I suffered from lazy disorder. Those were my disorders. And you can do it. Ain't no big deal. And that's the way I teach. I teach like that. I teach like a student. I still remember some of the things, some of the phobias I had when I taught, when I was coming up, and I bring those out when I teach. So, okay. As far as logistics of the class, as far as handouts, does anybody have any questions as far as the handouts go? Syllabus, handouts, anything like that? Okay? Nobody's going to talk anyway. So I'll just move on to, let me find it, mylabsplus. Now there's a couple of ways to get on to mylabsplus. One is through something that I have not mentioned, which is Blackboard. So if I don't mention it, that means I don't use it. So what I tell students to do is go to www.tctc.mylabsplus.com, and you can go straight to the login process. Now the reason I tell students to go here is because this site hardly ever shuts down. I can't say that. And Blackboard will fall apart whenever finals. It always does. Either the week before finals or the week during finals. So I tell students to go through here. And you log in. Use your Tri-County Tech email without the @TCTC and your T number, capital T, and your T number. I think I typed too many zeros. No, I didn't. And you will have your courses, whatever courses you're taking. Y'all are 12012, right? So that's what you'll see, and here is your dashboard. Now, looking at these three or these buttons over here, which buttons do you think are very important? Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, Vanna. You're Vanna. I always give a student the name Vanna. You're Vanna because I'm probably going to give you this thing before long, so you keep blowing it up. And so you're Vanna. Vanna from Wheel of Fortune. I'll turn the letters. Okay, nobody's going to talk. Okay, there we go. So what is the best button, the three most important buttons on the left-hand side that you see? Homework. Why do you think homework is important?
Because you have to do it to get the 20%.
Exactly, and that's where you find the homework questions. So please don't write me an email before you've logged on to, where's the homework? Please don't do that, because I will not answer it, or I will answer it and say I have no earthly idea. What's another important one? Quizzes and tests. Where do you think you're going to find your test? There. And what's the next one? Grade book. What do you think you're going to find there? Your grades. Now, of course, nobody has grades in there right now unless you've started some work early, and that's fine. But those are the three most important. Now, what if you want to access your book online? That would be the e-book. Right there. Everybody has a book in here, which people are going to ask me about. People are going to ask me about the books. Beg, borrow, share, old book, new book, e-book, whatever. I don't care. I don't care what you bring to class. You can print this out 10 pages at a time, bring it. I don't care about what you bring to class. I don't care about what you read at home, because everybody in here has access to what? The e-book. Everybody. So everybody has a book. In my eyes, all of you have a book already, and that's right there. Okay? So you use whatever you want to in class. I don't care. You can just bring a notebook every day. Bring something. Don't come in here with a pillow, because then I'll get irritated. Okay? Unless you're going to write on it. All right? Yes, sir. It'll be from this right here. It'll be on here. Everything is on here. If you want to do problems out of the book, that's just extra for you. I don't sit there and say, okay, do every odd problem on page 323. I don't do that. Everything I do is on here. Okay? And there's the chapters, of course. Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I told you, was reading. And there is some homework, but it's mostly multiple choice, and it's mostly definitions on the homework for Chapter 1 and 2. So when you go to Chapter 1 homework, go to homework, Chapter 1, 1.2, make sure you do the orientation also. And here's question 1. And see, it is what is a voluntary response sample? That's the definition. Now, what are these buttons on the side? Well, these are different learning styles. Animation. This is for the visual learner.
Statistics is the science of drawing conclusions from data.
This is a merge
example,
between a
The U.S.
graphic
Army
and a
wants to
video.
know how many
A
uniforms
graphic
of
would
each
just
size to
put
order.
stuff up there, and that's it. This is some
Frito-Lay
voice
wants
in
to
there,
assess the
and it
quality
puts
of
the
an entire
animation in
truckload
there.
of
It's called an
potatoes
animated
from
video
a small sample.
or animated tutorial.
Scientists are
it's
concerned
just a
over
visual
increasing deaths
representation.
of manatees. Do poll takers try to but we cannot expect perfect answers.
It's kind of like some of those
Studies
film
how
strips you used to
control,
watch in class.
minimize.
That's it.
It is in
Textbook. These are for the people that like to read. I cannot stand to read. If I want to go to sleep, all I got to read is a couple of pages of a book or a newspaper. I'll drop it on my head. If I have it up, I'll drop it. I mean, I cannot read 1-2 pages and not fall asleep. And this takes you to, for the readers, it takes you right to the book. You can hit this print button right here, up there in the top right hand corner, and it'll print up to 10 pages at a time. StatCrunch is a glorified spreadsheet, and it'll pull up. You can actually put numbers in here, but I don't deal with. I just do the spreadsheet. It works the same way. Except these, you can actually go up here and you can tell it what you want. Like, I just want summary stats of 5 numbers, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I want those numbers, and it'll give you the stats on those numbers if you just hit summary stats. So it's already got the formula. This is more of a spreadsheet just for probability and statistics, where Excel is just a spreadsheet for anybody. Okay? So I don't use that very much. Tech help, that questions about these things, and it's basically a tutorial on any of these things. And there's Excel right there. and there's the TI, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. This is how you print out your homework. You print it out there. Print assignment, print homework assignment. That'll print all of section 1 homework. So 2.1 or 1.2, it'll print all of that section homework, 10, 15 questions, whatever. You go home, work it, then come back to class or come back to the computer or whatever and type in the answers. Print this question only. There's not much reason for you to do that unless you wanted to come to class and plop one on my desk right before class. But you can do that as you're doing it with this question right here, with this button right here. Let's say you're at home, you're doing this problem and you did all these things and you still don't have a clue. I have no idea what this is. You suck. And you just told me that I'm a terrible teacher. But the next day, when I get ready for my class, some of y'all saw me sitting in here working on stuff when y'all first got here. That's when I pull up emails. I go to my email and there it is. How'd I know? There it is. I just wrote that. So it's real time. You could send me that at 12 o'clock at night when my phone goes off and says, you have an email. You have an office mail. I'll look, and it's the question that you sent seconds before. I will take this, and I will pull these up in class. And the good thing about this, somebody texted me and said, can I just text you my questions in class, about class? And I said, yes, you can text me. I said, but it'd be easier to use Ask My Instructor because you don't have to retype the what? You don't have to type in the what? The question. It sends it to me, and you don't have to do anything. So that is the best feature. That's one of the reasons I started using this back in 1996. I was the first teacher to ever start using this. And it took me 6 or 7 years before teachers actually started using it. I loved the Ask My Instructor feature because it gauges the class. How can it gauge the class? Well, if we do chapter 3.3 and I go to, and I just covered 3.3 material and I pull up the email the next day and I've got 15 questions from 3.3, then that tells me 2 or 3 things. What does it tell me? I need to spend some more time on it because I've got so many questions. It also tells me that you're not through with that homework. It also tells me that I don't need to go on to 3.4. Now, what if I do 3.3 material and I pull up the email the next day and I don't see any questions? What am I going to assume? And I'm going to keep on going to 3.4. So you need to use it. Now, don't wait 6 months after I did the homework to do 3.3. Okay? That's not going to do any good either. Okay? These things right here are to help you get over humps while you're doing the homework. And the Ask My Instructor is for me to help you one-on-one in class. Because without doing the test in class and without checking homework in class, I saved myself in the summer about 5 to 6 days of teaching time. And in those days, I can have basically office hours, because there's only 4 units, and you only meet twice a week. So one of those days I could just have for nothing but what? Questions. So if you disperse that out, I can have about 15 minutes to 30 minutes of each of my classes for nothing but what? Homework questions. But the squeaky door gets what? It's your parents' fault. The squeaky door gets what? Grease. Squeaky door gets grease. Squeaky door gets OIL. Meaning that if you don't ask questions, you're not going to what? You're not going to get help. In order for you to get help, you've got to what? Ask questions. It's your parents' fault that you didn't know that. they should teach you better. Okay? Squeaky door gets O-I-L. I do not pronounce the word O-I-L. I spell it. Anybody know why? Boy, you pronounce it. Pronounce it one way. If you pronounce it the southern way, you're criticized for being ignorant. And if you pronounce it the northern way, you sound like you're straining through your nose to say the word O-I-L. So I just say O-I-L. People are going, trying to figure out how you say it now. Same way with, what's the letter that comes after, what comes after V in the alphabet? Some of y'all are scared to say it. Yeah. What comes after V? W or W? You ever heard people pronounce it on television? They will not say W because they're not ignorant Southerners. They pronounce it W, W, W. Just like C-L-E-M-S-O-N. What does that spell? C-L-E-M-S-O-N. How'd you say it? That's got a P in it. You got to do it like ESPN and say Clemson. Y'all ever seen ESPN people when they do Clemson Day or what is it called, Sports Day or whatever, game day? Here we are in Clemson, South Carolina. They sound like they're in a speech class or something. Clemson. But if you pronounce it Clemson, you're saying, I'm from around here and I'm an ignorant Southerner. So they go out of their way to say Clemson because they don't want to sound like an ignorant Southerner and put the P in. Next time you watch ESPN during Clemson football, make sure you listen to the announcers when they say Clemson. Clemson. Here we are in Clemson, South Carolina. W. O-I-L. All right, so what do I do with the videos? So I video with the video camera and I video on this called a screen capture up here. Everything that I'm doing on this computer is captured with this program right here called, whatever it's called, Active Inspire. I've got it on a thumb drive up here. I upload it. I call it screen capture. First day, 120, and then whatever the date is. And then I put the videos. Now the videos, they come in usually segments of 2 or 3, depending on how long I teach. If I teach an hour-and-a-half class, it's usually 2 videos. If I teach 2-hour class, it's usually 3 videos. So I will say, first day, 120, date, video 1, video 2, video 3. So each class, there should be a screen capture, and 2 to 3 videos. Okay? And what it looks like is when, now some of you can already get started and look at my videos from last semester. When you go to YouTube, pull up Hubert McClure, and when you pull up, you'll see 2 pictures, one with a green shirt and one with a maroon shirt, burgundy, wine, whatever you want to call it. The maroon shirt's for office hours. Anything that I've done in my office for students in the past, I put on this channel. If you send me a question and say, Hubert, do this on office hours, I will do it, in my office on this overhead camera that I have, and I will post it. Anything I do, I post it to YouTube. It's either in class or it's in office hours. So if you want me to do office hours, you will need to tell me, call me, and text me, will you do an office hour for me on the camera? And then I'll do it and send it to you, and I'll also post it on this channel. Okay? And you can see I do it for all different classes, 120, 155, Calc 1, 120, Calc 2, Algebra 102, Reverse FOIL, pronounce it however you'd like. Electrical power error, that's something that we always get into. That's a calculus problem. Okay? Gender selection method, that's probability. So there's all kind of different videos on there. Okay? Now, if you go to the burgundy picture, or burgundy shirt, wine shirt, whatever, you go to playlist. And if you want to look at my videos from spring for Math 120, you click on this one. I don't know why you want to look at Math 120 2 semesters ago, but I would go with the latest one, which is this one. And see, here is my Math 102 that I just did this morning. I just loaded it. So yours will be loaded right after class. I'll load it on here, and it'll be called Summer 2015 Math 120. And then I'll put in class / online, because I got 2 classes, online classes are going to be using these videos also. Okay? So when you click on, I cannot stand to hear my voice, so I'm going to turn this off. And you can just, there's the first day, second day, and that's like the second day on a normal semester. I usually cover mylabsplus. So if you missed anything on mylabsplus today and you want to look at another video, then it goes over mylabsplus here also. Let's say that you didn't want to, this is the screen capture, I think. Yeah. Screen capture, see, all you see is the writing, you don't see me. Okay. Let's say that you didn't pick up something in class. Maybe this one. Yep. Look at this, going over the syllabus, going over the sections. And it sound familiar? I've already done it. But you can go back and look over, telling you these sections you read. I've already highlighted them, just like I did a while ago. This goes over the syllabus a little bit. This is the calendar, which we need to go over in the next class. Handouts. All the handouts that I covered. There's my golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Going over the attendance, talking about attendance. So even if you didn't write down a thing today, you can either go to last semester's or you can go to today's class, and you can go over the class by clicking onto this one or clicking onto the previous one. Okay? Let's say that you want to move ahead and do chapter 5 tomorrow. Well, then you go to the Math 120 in the spring, and you go down to you see chapter 5 or whatever the case may be. There's chapter 5 in here somewhere. You just have to look for it. There's chapter 4 review, and then of course there's chapter 5 right here. So you can do that if you want to. Questions on video or mylabsplus? Who's got questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, you can. You can do that through the bookstore, or you can do it online. When you go online and log on, it's going to ask you for, do you want to do the grace period, because you haven't paid yet. You haven't put access code in. So they'll say, do the grace period, yes. And every day it'll probably give, or every other day it'll probably give you a reminder to get the access code. And it'll say it comes with a book, it comes in the bookstore, or you can buy it online. Click on buy it online, put your card on there, Visa, whatever, and it'll give you your access. And it'll put you into the class for you. So you can do that. Who else has got a question? Did I just cover everything so well that you don't have any questions? Is that what it was? You're right. Or I went so fast. Now, granted, I do cover things fast the first day. I don't go this fast usually. Chances are we'll probably, the next 2 meetings that we have, I will cover chapter 1 Thursday and then chapter 2 Tuesday. And then that next, or if I can, what I'd like to do is cover chapter 1 and 2 Thursday and start with chapter 3 on Tuesday and give you all of next week to work on chapter 3. But we'll play it by ear, and that's something I do not come in here. You see a notebook? I don't come in here with a notebook reading off notes that I've done 5 years ago. Everything I do is in here and off of here. So you pull up a question, I may make a mistake because it's probably the first time I've done the problem. I do not have a notebook filled with this many overheads. Didn't you hate those teachers? And all they did was just read those overheads off. That's all they did. They didn't do anything. That's what happened to me in 7th, 8th grade. She had a little overhead and she had a little roll on it. And, went, wee, 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 wee. And she would write numbers. And she would wee, 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 wee. And then she would take it off, put it in a pocket, and then she would pull another one out for the next class. It might have been algebra, it might have been algebra 2, whatever. Wee, 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 wee. I can hear that thing right now. And she'd have a recliner, one of these things right here, and it was a leather recliner because she had back problems. She was so bad at Southwood. You know what somebody did to her? Now this was before I came along. Somebody put 2 fish. She had a Lincoln Continental green, a mint green Lincoln Continental with a dark green vinyl top. Y'all ever seen one before? They look like a submarine. Okay, they're huge. Anyway, this was about 81, 82, so it had to have been 81, 82 model. Somebody got into her, I don't know how they got it, somebody knew how to get into her hood of her engine, because back then you had to pull the cable from the inside. And they laid 2 big old fish on each side of her engine. Now some of y'all are going, well, what'd that do? Well, what does the engine do? It gets hot. And then what did those fish do? They cooked. They cooked on that engine. She had to sell the car. That's how bad a person she was. Oh, she was despised. I'm surprised some of y'all hadn't heard of her. Bradbury. None of y'all ever heard of her? Her and Bad Breath Brenison was about the most famous teachers at Southwood. People used to give Bad Breath Brenison, used to give her scope every year. She'd get mad and throw it in the trash can because she had white, brown teeth. Anyway, y'all ain't had no teachers like that, have you? All right, who's got questions? No questions at all? Y'all just all ready to go. Then what do you need to do between now and Thursday? Read chapter 1 and 2. Get it all over with. Read it, write it out, just write some vocabulary words out of the green boxes or the blue boxes. What else? Yeah, you can for chapters 1 and 2. You can start on the homework. What else? Figure out what kind of calculator you're going to use. What else? Print out all that stuff you didn't print out today. Yes. Okay, if you didn't get an email from me, now don't come up here if you hadn't checked it. All right? If you hadn't checked it, go check it and see if you got an email from me. If you added this class in the last day or two, you might not have got an email from me. If you check your email and you did not get an email from me, see me after class Thursday, and I'll resend it to whoever didn't get one. Okay? So this is what you need to work on. Chapters 1 and 2, read and homework. Go ahead and start working on it. Figure out what kind of calculator you're going to use. If you do get a TI and you do not get an 83, let's say you get a $15, $20 TI, make sure it has probability and statistics capabilities. Find out what kind of text you're going to use. If you're going to use one at all, if you're going to use, if you're going to print it out, go ahead and start printing out chapters 1.1 through 1.4, and 2.1 through 2.4, and 3.1 through 3.4, and you'll have Unit 1. You can bring that in your notebook. Or you can borrow, share, buy a new one, use an old one. I don't care. What else? Anything else? Oh, what do you need to bring to class? A notebook, a pencil. That's pretty much it. If you want to bring a book, that's fine. If you want to bring a printed book, that's fine. If you want to bring just your printed sheets, that's fine. But bring something to write with and bring something to write on. Yes, sir.
Somebody has a tablet,
I'm okay with tablets. I don't want a laptop.
use the ebook for
Yes, I would encourage that with a tablet or a phone. Right now, they're kind of making some of the phones as big as a tablet now. I mean, have y'all seen the Samsung, I mean, that thing looks like this. I mean, my phone is big. Mine's a LG. I mean, that thing's big. I like it. But okay. Any other questions? Did anybody come in after I called the roll? Okay. Any questions for me?